In 1972, I was playing in Texas. There was a Holiday Inn in Irving, Texas, across the highway from the Texas Stadium. Another one was in Kingsville, Texas. At the same time, a brand new Holiday Inn opened up in College Station, Texas, across the street from Texas A&M University. All three places had small bars and hired acoustic music. I'd been playing music in Colorado and Idaho when I got wind of a circuit in Texas. I grew up in Oklahoma and wanted to get closer to home. My wife and I headed down out of the Rockies toward Texas. My wife was not getting along well on the road. She needed to see her family in Oklahoma. I needed the road and freedom. Freedom from her. The road would bring that freedom soon enough. I don't know why I was so impatient. When you're young, it seems if it doesn't happen immediately, you'll never get there. We were just so different and so young. We argued and cried and never reached out for one another. I needed to spread my wings and fly, and so did she. The bed grew colder as the highway drove the music closer to home. The spirits had separated when we got married. The dreams were completely different. She needed a home, and I was content to roam. God help young couples. As the van moved south and miles rolled by, we didn't speak. We were so full of unspoken words, we were both about to explode. I wanted to stop and cross a creek, hand in hand, and stroll into a meadow, throw a blanket out into the clover, take our clothes off, and bathe each other in sunshine and love. No way was she ever going to drop her walls for a husband she didn't understand. So the silence was deafening as I pulled up in her mom and dad's yard. Another ending and another beginning was taking place, and I couldn't stop it. I could see it, but not even God and all his angels could slow down the train that drove through my heart. A train loaded with music, dreams, crazy love, and years of demons to slay. The perfect recipe for a wandering poet and entertainer. Just as daylight appears and soon after comes darkness, creative juices must be allowed to flow and grow, or a mind will cease to function. Goodbye, little darling. If I never see you again, the old gray mare is yours. That relationship was not meant to last any more than Jesus was meant to grow old. After a few days on our folks' farms, I pulled out alone towards Texas. Stay here, honey. Rest up. I'll be back in a few weeks. How many times would I say those words in the next 30 years? How many women would I say it to? I had no idea where the trail would lead, but I was ready to go. 40 good songs, a good van, more talent than the law allows, and an eye for the ladies is all that it took to take this young man down millions of miles of highways. Texas was calling my name as I drove south out of Indian Territory toward the Alamo. Sunrises and sunsets, dreams, and a guitar would lead me into the arms of a beauty in Dallas, a senorita in College Station, a hooker in Kingsville. The poetry flowed. The melody moved hearts. The songs rolled out one after another like Louis L'Amour books. By the time I made my way to the Mexican border, I'd made love in a meadow. That pretty little senorita in College Station wore me down like an old man can whittle down a block of wood in a pool hall. That brown-eyed, black-haired little bartender in Irving wound her sweet fingers around my heart like a river rolls down out of the mountains in the spring, and that blonde hooker wrapped her legs around me like Van Gogh turns blank canvas into faces in a field with no names. I hit the road at a dead run and never looked back. Not long, anyway, usually just long enough to say goodbye and hello. From the nude beaches of Southern California to the coal mining towns of Pennsylvania, love laid down in front of me like asphalt in front of a road crew. Song after song and mile after endless mile, fall into winter, then spring into summer, Nothing could ever slow down the direction. Nothing, of course, but old age, diabetes, arthritis, Meniere's disease, heat stroke, loneliness, depression, and money. I never counted on any of the above to come along and stop the highway, but it did. The good times finally stopped rolling and the road became confusing. The locals got scared, the women got married, the law got tough, and I became worn out and too old to march to the beat of a different drummer. I started writing before I had the chance to forget. Forget the way the moon shone on the breast of a young woman on the edge of a riverbank on a hot August night. Forget the energy between performer and audience on a magic smoke-filled night in a small bar on the edge of that same river. River towns, beach towns, mountain towns, desert towns, flatland towns, I didn't care. I sang anywhere and normally fell in love everywhere. I wrote poetry and music coast to coast, traveled and stayed free until I couldn't go any further, and then I picked up the pen and started to capture the story of a young man's dream, and how it led him through a lifetime of beauty, pain, and music.